Okay, so what have I been doing? Well, this kind of explains it. So it's been a little while since I've updated on the ZE50, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Partly because the weather has been totally awful, which hasn't helped, and I've just been busy with other repairs and bits and bobs, visiting garages and things. But yeah, due to the weather, and obviously as I mainly work outside, that's delayed things. Hence, I now basically have this pop-up garage. So I've been putting that up. The car has had a couple of basic things done on it, but no vast amount. Basically when the weather's poor, because I was working outside, things like this scuttle panel is still there. Normally one of the first things you do is take that off, but I'm always wary of rain basically ending up in the footwells, so you know, historically left that in. Weather's been poor quite a bit, and I tend to work on these cars kind of a bit as and when. So yeah, so not a lot's been done on it. I drained the oil, reduction gear oil and the coolant out of it, but it pretty much is as last video. Yeah, now we can crack on, because I have a nice pop-up workshop. If I pop round the other way, so it's big enough to get the car in. I've got space either side, a bit less space the other side, but that's because I literally built this around the car, so it wasn't here to put it in the middle. But at the front, I've basically just set up the lights and dumped my tools in here. But yeah, I've got plenty of room to get stacks out and things, and it can be pouring outside, just so that I can basically crack on even if it's dark. I've got a couple of lights set up. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to up until right now. A little bit of an update on diagnostics. So I mentioned before that my main diagnostic tools, the Autels, they've not been updated very recently, and so they can't communicate with the motor controller, what's called the PEB, on the ZE50. And I thought, a tool I used to use has got lifetime software updates. So I really rate this iCarsoft stuff, and I use these quite a bit on different cars. You can see that's the RT version 1, and these have lifetime software updates. So I thought, oh, I wonder if that can talk to it, but this is quite a basic machine. And I did a software update, and it still can't communicate with basically nearly, so it can only find like one ECU on this car, probably because of the secure gateway. But I've contacted their support, and they've come back to me asking for logs and things, and they're usually quite responsive about updates. So it'd be interesting to see whether I can get a sort of the basic cheap tool to actually talk to this ZE50, which would be quite cool. Whether that will be possible, because I think there are sort of physical differences in how the CAN gateways work, so the tool might actually need to operate in a different way physically, i.e. different wires in the OBD socket. But yeah, so that's the update. Basically now I can crack on, because the way I have to do these cars sometimes when I'm busy is I just have an hour or so, and I just come out and work on them. But obviously when the weather's poor or light's bad or whatever, that's kind of, you know, kind of difficult. Whereas now I can obviously come in, put the lights on, my tools are here, I don't have to get everything out, you know, cover up the car, whatever. So yeah, so it's been a bit difficult previously, but yeah, got fed up, and I've got this pop-up garage, which is quite cool. So yeah, we are gonna crack on. So let's do it. Let's fix this car. Okay, so next step, so radiator pack's off, obviously wheels are off, arch liners, well, that front arch liner was missing, so that arch liner's off. So now we can kind of see what we're going to do. 12-volt battery's still on there at the moment, just because I'm just giving it a little bit of a charge, because it's got a little bit low. So this is the motor stack. So we've basically got the motor here, then there's a reduction gear and differential, it's about 10-to-1 reduction, and then a diff to send the power to both wheels. There's a drive shaft out there and drive shaft out there behind the stack. Yeah, so motor here, and then this is the kind of control box. So charger, which the charger involves a few components on this. There's like an input filter that checks the voltages and current and earth resistance and stuff like that, which is that section there under my 12-volt battery charger. And then there's a charging rectifier that actually does the AC to DC in there, and there's a motor controller, a DC-DC converter to charge 12-volt battery. So all of that gear is in there basically. So the way Renault designed this is you've got to take this end cover panel off. So this big box has a nice rectangular cover panel. You can kind of just about see, you can see these bolts around here, and going down there. Shall we go around this side and have a look?
you can, oh yeah, you can see, so this panel, so in here is where we've got to go. The actual component is literally just in here, but you can't get that cover panel off because the whole lot is up against the subframe here. So wires in the way, so there's not enough room to get that off, because see, that's sort of that's a deep cover, and there are components that stick out into there. So you've got to take this whole stack out to be able to get in there, and I believe the issue is with the motor controller. So we are going to swap the motor controller, or yeah, I think we're going to swap the whole box, to be honest. But we've got to get around the coding, so we've got to take a circuit board out of there and put it in the other one and put that box on there. But either way, yeah, we've got to get this whole stack out. And you can see this is quite a bit of work. That engine bay is going to kind of be empty by the time we've got that out. Yeah, 12-volt battery out. Don't think there's too much else. Bit of cabling. So yeah, radiator pack is out, so that's there. Yeah, so we're going to get that out and see if there's anything visible inside. More than likely not. And then swap the circuit board that's coded, replace that box with the replacement one we've got, and then put it back together and see what happens. So yeah, you can fortunately start the car, and if it starts and it will spin the wheels, you can do that whilst it's kind of in this stage. Obviously there's no wheels, but spin the discs without having everything connected, which makes things a lot easier, because there's obviously about 3 to 4 hours to get to this point. Yeah, probably 3 hours. So this is a big loom here, and that is for, I'll just put that on there so we can see it. So loom there that wraps around in front of the radiator pack, and that's for sort of sensors and like these aircon sensors, and the brake fluid level, and then these aircon valves and things. So yeah, sort of temperature sensors and valves and things like that. So that's, you don't need that for it to run. You'll have a few warnings, but it will work. So generally the way I do it is to yeah, get it back in, put the drive shafts in so that you can use the brakes and things, because you've got to be able to sort of stop it once it starts going, ideally. Yeah, and then put it into drive, and just make sure it works basically, obviously fairly quickly because you've got no cooling, but that's what I regularly do, and that doesn't cause any issues. Yeah, just to make sure that it turns on and spins basically, so it's all good. All right, catch you later.